Hello, my friends. How are you? Thank you for stopping by. My name is Jason, and this is the Outstanding Life Show. We talk about recovery, we talk about addiction, we talk about mindfulness. There's quite a few things underneath those umbrellas, but I've tried different seasons. So we tried first season 1, and that worked. I had a lot of watch time on those first season. There was a lot of there were like 30 minutes, like 45-minute plus videos. These videos for season 2 we're actually taking a little bit different. We're going to go and reduce the time. We're talking maybe 10-15 minutes, and we'll jump into a topic rather than go deep into a topic. We'll just go very light, but we'll just go more frequent. So what I mean by that is we'll be able to, over the course of a month, we would have dived deep into that topic. So every month we're going to have a theme. We have 12 months in a year, and we also have 12 steps. So why don't we just go ahead and call each month is going to be its own step. So step 1, we're in January. We're midway through the month. By the time we finish this month, we would have covered everything under the sun about, this is the sun, everything under the sun about the step 1. And then we'll jump into step 2 when we get into February. All right. So if you are new here and you want to know more about what's going on, we do have show notes available. And every day I've got them set up for Facebook Messenger. So if you're watching on Facebook, go ahead and type notes in the comments, and then we'll have them sent out to you by Facebook Messenger. If you are watching on YouTube, the notes comment won't work, but there's an address at the bottom, and if you go and you type it in, outstanding.video/notes, and then we'll have the notes sent out to you. Again, it's by Facebook Messenger, but at least it brings you in on the conversation. So we go live to Facebook, but we post the lives afterwards on YouTube. But the show notes themselves, I actually have them saved in a blog, and it's on WordPress. So if you wanted to catch up and see what yesterday was about, we can go and check out the blog, and then I'll have everything there. And I post some of the blogs before I go live. So if you want to catch a sneak peek about what we're going to chat about in future episodes, you can definitely go and see the schedule and how far down it is. But I've linked everything back to the videos, these live shows here. Okay, so if you're new here, let me know. Again, my name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. We're going to talk about step 1. And today's show title is, well, for me, on a long enough timeline, the success rate of anything reaches 100%. So what does that mean? That means I'm more of a positive person. I like being a positive person, but I wasn't always a positive person. When I was first starting out in this recovery space, when I was first signing up to find out more about addiction, to find out what the first steps would look like, I was totally, I don't want to say starstruck, but I was overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with all the jargon. I was overwhelmed with the amount of emotion that I was processing. I was sitting at this spot where I went from like having no emotion to suddenly like 50,000 emotions. And making that commitment to take the first step was really hard. And as I was processing those emotions, as I was dealing with life as it shows up, suddenly taking the first step, it no longer became the hardest thing. What became hardest after that was staying committed. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, staying committed to the program, the 12 steps. I was more frustrated at myself because I had taken so long before I jumped in to this recovery world. Like, I was so upset at myself that I had held off for so long, and I wasn't open, willing, or ready to make that commitment. And then when I finally did make the commitment, when I did jump into it, soon I was sitting at that spot and I was like, this is what I waited for. This is what I signed up for. But now life is happening to me in real time, and I still have to deal with life, still deal with my recovery. And when life happens, I went from being overwhelmed to now suddenly being like intolerable, or I went to being overburdened, or pretty soon, dealing with life as it happens while in recovery, while trying to manage my life. None of that was being upheld. And it became very easy to fall down. It became very easy to fall apart. And it was never at that spot where I was like, well, how am I going to deal with this then? It's always challenging at the first part. I don't know if you can relate to this. Let me know in the comments if like you're learning something new, and then pretty soon one little tiny thing happens, and then everything else, this little mountain turns into this, or this molehill turns into this mountain. Let me know if that you can relate to that or not. I'm actually going to go check out the comments and see what we got going on. And we have April. Hello, April. How are you? Thanks for hanging out. That's actually pretty cool that you're here, April. I really appreciate that. But yeah, April, if you're here, let me know what your thoughts are when you first sign up to something and you're learning. Do you ever get to that spot where you feel overwhelmed? Do you ever get to that spot where like the tiniest curve suddenly throws everything off, even though it's a tiny little curve, yet that one tiny curve, like you might as well like break the camel's back. If you're carrying all the groceries, you put one little grape on and then all the groceries fall down. That's a very descriptive, imaginative description, but I couldn't help but feel that same way in recovery when I was just starting out. And I began to worry about, how do I keep going? Like I was white knuckling my way through life up until the point of signing up to recovery. It wasn't something simple like a newsletter. You sign up, you drop your email in, or you put your name on a mailing list. Like it's not something simple like that. The recovery process requires me to stay committed. The recovery process requires me to keep working my program. So while, yes, I go and I'm learning, and I still have to be vigilant, I still have to be humble, but I also have to stay committed to that process. I have to remember the reason I started this is because I no longer wanted the life I was living, or the lifestyle I was living. If you can relate to that, let me know, because I certainly struggled with that for quite some time. And it wasn't until I want to say when I got to know myself, and when I started to dive deep into who I was. Like you think you know yourself, and I thought I knew myself, but it wasn't until I jumped into this world of recovery that I was like, that's not who I want to be. What I want is something different. And what I want is to have this outstanding life. I want to have something more than what I was currently experiencing. And that means I'm going to have to be accountable. That means I'm going to have to communicate my feelings. That means I'm going to have to work my program, be honest with myself. These things I wasn't doing before, but one thing was apparent. In each of those things I just mentioned, there was no room for having an ego. There was no room for risking my recovery, because I had to make this decision. And I don't want to say it was an easy decision, because it was very challenging leading up to that. But one thing was for sure is I wanted something else other than what I had. So that meant on a long enough timeline, the success rate of anything gets to 100%. And that's the mindset I had. That's the idea I held on to. If you can relate to that, let me know. I'm going to go check out the comments here and see what's going on. Oh, yeah. Okay, so April is saying she 100% totally agrees. That is so cool. And it's great. And then totally so frustrating. That was me in a nutshell for, I want to say, months. It probably took me a good few months before I grasped truly what the world of recovery was. And that's one of the things I liked about recovery, like just signing up to it. I originally went to a men's treatment center, and it was over a series of weeks. Like it wasn't something I could do in over a weekend. I think I was gone for like 9 months. No, not 9 months, 9 weeks. And with 9 weeks, I ended up coming out, I don't want to say a completely different person, but one of the things in being away from what I would consider my day-to-day life, because it was inpatient treatment, I actually went away somewhere. And when I went away, I didn't have to worry about work. I didn't have to worry about focusing on, I don't say responsibilities, I was just focusing on only my recovery. That one thing is what I poured all my effort into. And then when you don't focus on anything else except for that one thing, when you have no other option but to succeed, your brain will find a way to do it. It just took me 9 weeks to figure it out. But I'm happy that I spent that time to focus on my program, to focus on myself, to get me to the spot where I can say, hey, you know what? I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of where I've been. Okay. Yes, April is saying, hold yourself accountable. And that's truly important. If I'm not having that sense of transparency, if I'm not having that sense of radical open-mindedness, I'm not going to be able to go and see myself through. So that brings it back, April, and thanks for sharing that. Is in each one of these episodes in season 2, not only are they going to be short, but they're actually going to have some sort of action, and there's also going to be a celebration of sorts. There's going to be a gratitude of the day. So for today's gratitude, I'm actually going to celebrate being humbled. Now, what do I mean by that? Being humbled. Nobody really wants to be humbled, yet one of the things I've come to appreciate personally is my higher power. And I have to believe that my higher power wants me to succeed. And so through these events that happen to me, through these events that happen for me, when these situations arise, I can have faith and trust that my higher power wants me to succeed. It gives me the challenges before me, but also gives me the power, the strength, and the will to carry forward. You know, if it wasn't for my experiences in my past, I wouldn't have the same strength to move forward. So I needed those trials and tribulations. I needed those experiences to hold me down. But I also needed to be able to go and rise up and pick myself up. So I'm thankful that these things take place. And I couldn't have that unless I was being humble. Hey, Kitty. But if you can relate to that, let me know. What about you, Kitty? Can you relate? Are you hungry? You're hungry. But yes, so we have our gratitude message of the day. And then for today's action, I'm actually going to go and list the ways that I'm committed to my recovery. And I don't want to say just my recovery. I want to make it more broad, and I want to say my program. I want to say focusing on the positive. I want to include that to share that rather than focus on the things that are not working, what if I were to shape my focus on the things that are opportunities? What if I focus on, how much stronger I'm going to be at the end of this? So if I'm in a situation that things are falling apart, man, I can't wait to see who I'm going to be after this, because I know I have the experience, the strength, and the hope to keep moving forward. Okay, so if you're new here, let me know. If you like what we're chatting about, let me know what your thoughts are. So April is saying, I love that you share what you stand for in life. Having others help hold you accountable too. Yes, sharing with other people. Kitty, what are you doing? He's adorable. Okay, yes. April is saying that the kitty is cute. There we go. He is cute. I think he's also hungry too. But thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Again, my name is Jason. This is the Outstanding Life Show. We talk about everything related to recovery, mindfulness, positivity. I try and put a positive spin on things. It's a very sensitive subject. Not everybody's pretty cool with that. I do put today's show notes in a quick 3-liner, nothing crazy, nothing big. But if you type notes in the comments, we'll have the notes sent out to you by Facebook Messenger. If you're watching on YouTube, if you go to the address outstanding.video/notes, and then we'll have them sent out to you as well. In the meantime, thanks so much for hanging out. Thank you, April, for spending a handful of your minutes here. I really appreciate that. I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video. But if you have any questions, let me know. I love all the questions you send me. Kitten loves the questions too. In the meantime, take care, everybody. Have fun. Bye.